This episode of Slatki Stol is in partnership with and sponsored by Lionheart Pro, catering to all your filming needs.
If she's done the work, if she's reflected, if she's
Once a hoe,
understood.
always a hoe.
This is, no, I disagree with you. I disagree with
No,
you.
I disagree with you.
And again, I've dated
This goes
women.
for men too.
Welcome to episode 3 of Slatki Stol, Dating Culture.
It's in the DNA to be promiscuous like a monkey would hump the entire forest because it's just, go, 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 go. It's what we're wired to do.
We brought together 3 men and women, Bukharski, конечно, to talk about it.
Not the king shamer.
What are we trying to say?
Поставь чай and enjoy.
Girls expect too much nowadays. Step forward if you agree.
L'chaim, my friend. Cheers. So, girls expecting too much. I think that definitely exists. And I think that it's okay to expect a lot, but what are you going to do on your part, right? We call it a life partnership, ultimately, man and woman. So if a woman expects, and we're talking about the Gucci bags, the Range Rover lifestyle, the expensive dinners, vacations in the Hamptons, the works. If she expects that, that's fair, no problem. You want that out of your man? Okay, what are you going to provide your man? Are you going to be there for him when he's at his weakest? Are you going to be there for him emotionally, spiritually, mentally? How are you going to support that dream, that vision, that goal that you have for yourself, right? And the same works in tandem. You flip that. If a man expects a lot out of a woman, he wants her to be beautiful, he wants her to be smart, he wants her to be successful, and all these amazing things. What are you going to do for her, right? How are you going to provide for her?
Yeah, I agree, and you pretty much took the words right out of my mouth, honestly. And I can offer all of this too, but it's what are you going to offer? Like, what are you going to provide what are you going to bring to the table? And it is a partnership. Whatever I want, obviously, I want you to have too, and whatever you want, I want to have. I want to make that dream come true. And it's a partnership. We got to work together. And nowadays, I just feel like it's just not like that, and it's really important that we need to establish that in the very beginning, at the very beginning of seeing, like, dating, I guess, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think I agree with both of you and said, the question was, women want too much. The real question is, people want too much. And the answer is, like, you're allowed to want things, But I think the problem with a lot of cases is, so what? We're so hell-bent on trying to change people. I want you so badly, but you want all these things. Instead of being like, okay, are you okay? You can want all that. I can't provide it for you. Moving on. Instead, what we're doing is, no, I want you to be what I want you to be. So you can want whatever you want. It's okay. Women can want whatever they want. Men can want whatever they want. Whether it's legitimate, whether it's, understandable, who cares? Let people be. If they want the Gucci bags, if they want the hot model, whatever, let them do that. If they figured out later that that's not a reality, let them figure that out. But instead of trying to change them to become what you want them to be, I think that's the problem. Like, women want too much. Okay, if you can't provide it, move on. Look, you have your standards. Okay, as long as they're realistic. As long as they're not hurting other people. Let them be. So.
Jan?
Yeah,
T?
sure. Thank you.
Yeah, so the statement is people expect too much. I think it's wrong to say that girls expect too much. I think men want XYZ out of a woman. That's too much, but the question, you could say that it's too much, but the real is what too much for who? Too much for one person is just enough for another person. I think we just got to meet people where they are.
And I think it's good to want a lot. It's good to want a lot. It's natural to want a lot. We as humans, we are ceaselessly looking for more, always. The moment you want that range, you got that range, guess what? Now you want the Porsche 911. That's just how it works. So it's okay to want more, but everything requires work. Everything requires work. Nothing comes easy. The more you want, the more you got to sacrifice, the more you got to give to get. And that, in a relationship, has to go two ways. There has to be a mutual vision. There has to be a shared experience there. And you both have to work for that.
pretty much teamwork. That's all it breaks. It all comes
Makes
down
the
to
dream
just
work,
teamwork.
baby.
I don't know. So far, I've asked men for literally the bare minimum, and I've gotten 0.
What's the bare
What's
minimum?
the bare
And-
minimum?
And they like to label us women as gold diggers, but in reality, it's because probably can't afford it, and then they start labeling us, and I don't think that's right either. I personally don't think I ask for too much, but yeah, who doesn't want to live a nicer lifestyle? I think what happens is, as we get older, if we don't find our other half, then you get more picky. I think that's with everyone, men and women.
Well, then, if you don't mind, then I think you just have to find somebody that's on your level to build to that what you guys both want.
Well, yeah.
I mean, if you find somebody that's like not there yet, he's like trying to build himself. Are you willing to, go down to him and help him build to be where you're trying to
If
be?
I was in my early 20s, I would definitely do that.
Right.
In my mid, almost 30s, I think I would like a man who's a little bit more stable and established
So then
in a
that's
sense.
just the kind
Because I don't ask a man for anything that I cannot do for myself.
right.
So that's my take on it.
So basically, you just need to, find a guy that's
At
on
this
your
point,
level.
I'm ready
and-
to just build. That's it.
Okay. So you said bare minimum.
Yeah.
Do you mind elaborating a little bit on that? Just
I don't know. Flowers every Shabbat.
okay.
Come meet my parents at a normal time in our relationship, not, I don't know, never. Be kind. I watch men very carefully, like if I'm on a date with you and if, the way you speak to a waiter, let's say, like if you're respectful, that's a big deal. When I was a teenager, I was a waitress. And you know what? That's how I bought my first car for myself. And it's very difficult, like for, that job, it's very difficult because people don't appreciate it. They blame everything on the waitress and they go crazy on her or him.
Yeah.
And I was recently on a date with a guy and he is just so angry. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Yes, my food never arrived. Well, it did eventually, but whatever. And he was like, my man, where's the food at? And I'm like, whoa, you cannot speak this way. This is not okay. No, he has to bring the food now. He's not getting a tip. That's what he said. I'm like, it's okay, I'll tip him. It's fine. At the end, when the waiter came back, I was like, oh, busy day, right? Busy night. He was like, yeah, I worked for 12 days straight. I'm exhausted. I was like, I know. And then he felt like an idiot.
Yeah.
And he tipped him double after that. And that was it. Hi, I'm Yana Nektalov. I'm 34. I'm a hairstylist, and I'm the owner of Hair by Yana Nek. And I am single and ready to mingle.
You know what the interesting thing is that you said like the bare minimum for you. Some women would look at that as, yeah, my man is a power man. Like he puts his foot down. He doesn't take he doesn't take shit at the low level. Excuse me. It depends on who you are. Like, do you know what your bare minimum is, and understand that it's not everybody's bare minimum. Flowers on Shabbat is not a bare.
Okay.
It's like if you're Jewish and if you want to meet your parents at a certain point, yeah, that's like your bare minimum. And is it understandable to communicate that and not expect them to kind of know it off the top of their head? That like, I have these standards, you should already know these are my standards. How would they know that?
Well, by speaking to you on the phone. Before I go on a date
Yeah.
with someone, I like to emotionally connect with them on the phone for a while.
Yeah.
And if you don't learn my love languages, then that's on you. Honestly, the bare minimum for me is not just flowers. It's just common sense. It's honesty, loyalty,
Common sense. Look.
compassion.
Nobody ever says, I want a guy who's an asshole. I want a guy who's gonna beat me. I want a guy who's disloyal. No one ever says
I like
that.
a guy that's a little bit of an asshole, I'm not gonna lie.
But what does that
Sometimes.
mean?
Because I could be an asshole too. That's fine.
Yeah.
But
nobody wants a bad
it has
person.
to be a respectful asshole. Okay?
Right.
There's a difference.
A good
I
asshole.
don't know the difference. Yeah, actually, I do. I'm a good asshole.
A respectful asshole. But nobody wants the bad things. They want the good things. But I think you got to be very specific with what does good mean. Yeah, flowers on Shabbat is
to be
specific to
realistic.
you.
I think everyone made very valid points here. I think the biggest thing to consider when asking this question, when you get into a relationship that you feel is going to be long-term, is going to go somewhere substantial, you should ask yourself not what can this person do for me, what can I do for the other person?
100%.
And I think that yes, bare minimum and standards and values very much comes into play, but the biggest question that we should first and foremost ask ourselves is, how can I give more of myself to this other person to show them how I appreciate them? And obviously, when you're first getting into a relationship, you're not going to give them the world. You're going to give them your politeness and, you know, the outer face that you show everyone, and just getting to know each other, breaking the ice slowly by slowly. And then you start to develop emotional connections, a relationship. And when you see throughout that relationship, God forbid, that you see that you're being taken advantage of, and you see that you're giving more of yourself than the other person is giving to you, I think that's where this question comes into play and goes, why are you expecting so much of me when you're not even giving me that in return? And I feel like that's where, what you said, I feel like that's where that comes into play. A lot of women who are raised very high standard or into very wealthy families or very materialistic families, not necessarily in a bad sense, but still, like, they were raised around a lot of things that developed, you know, materialism and money and status and wealth. And a lot of us did not really grow up like that. So for someone to expect that of us, it almost seems like a slap in the face. Like, what did you do to earn that? And what does that mean to you if I give you something that's materialistic? Why would you rather that than something that I'm giving you, such as like my time and conversation, my values, my insights? So I think that very much both points are very much valid, but I wouldn't say that it's specifically girls that ask too much nowadays. Sometimes guys ask way too much, but I wouldn't generalize it to say, because I know a lot of women like, you know, you and, you know, that just, they really don't ask for the Porsche, the range. What does that mean if I don't have a connection with you? You don't even want to drive that type of car. It's meaningless. It doesn't mean, there's no value to it. People have big homes and there's nothing to fill it with. There's no family, there's no love, there's no life. So I feel like even the happiest of couples can live in like dumps, but they'll be like very happy and substantial, and they'll feel good about themselves.
I agree with her statement. And like it does come down to relationships. It's about relating to another person. But I think another downside with modern day relationships is people don't know who they are themselves.
Okay.
You know, they don't know their attachment style, which is extremely important to understand. If you're an anxious person or if you're an avoidant person, you know, men tend to be avoidant because they're taught to be self-sufficient. Women have a tendency to be anxious because they're being doted on their whole lives. But knowing this information helps you approach another person and say, can I give you what you need? If you're an avoidant person and you're dating an anxious person, they need reassurance, you're going to run away. So you knowing that information is going to help you approach that relationship. So when you're asking for too much, the real question is, do I even know what I'm asking for?
No, you're just asking the wrong person.
Yeah,
That's
just what it
You're
is.
not
Both of you guys
asking for
gotta
too
have the
much.
same like expectations. Like if your expectations are different from somebody, you just gotta match somebody who is.
If you know what that is.
Because
most people don't.
You end up changing people. You end up changing. You know, you find somebody that doesn't have the same expectations as you, and then you try to change it, and then they try to change you, and then just you guys are gonna just.
But that's the problem.
I started out as a disagreeer. I was standing over there. I changed my mind because I really did agree with you guys on the topic. Of course, what can I say? I genuinely think for a relationship to work, you have to both have the same expectations. You can be that couple that stays home and all they do is smoke up and all they do is sit around, play video games. They're homebodies. If that works for them, all it's, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. But if you want that relationship where you're going out, you're going on trips, you're going to restaurants, I'm getting my flowers on Shabbat, this has to be established before we even go out. I'm not gonna waste my time with you. I want phone calls, I want FaceTimes, I want texting. I wanna talk to you, and this is a little bit controversial when I'm dating around, is at least for a month before we go out, because I genuinely do not want to waste my time. I asked my grandma for her opinion. Bless her soul, she tells me to break up with everyone. As does my sister. My grandpa doesn't even know that I have feelings. I'm a robot. But going with that, I don't think, I've never thought that I've asked for too much. I've always thought that I'm very easygoing, if my dogs like you, I like you. If you're gonna play fetch with MLA, we're chilling, we're good. But I can see the side of it where I do know girls that ask for too much just because they're getting into something with someone that doesn't have their same expectations. They want to stay home. They don't want to take you out. That's what they're going into this, like, oh my God, this is going to be such a cool girl that I'm going to chill with. But this girl wants to go out. She wants the flowers. She wants the restaurants. But sometimes they're too scared to say it. So I don't think it's asking too much. I just genuinely think you have to go into it saying, this is what I want. These are my expectations. If you can't give me that, I'm not judging you. I always make that very clear. I'm not judging you. That's your life. You're going to live it how you are. Hi, I'm Liana Katayev. I'm 20. I'm half Bukharian, half Ukrainian, and I'm a stay-at-home granddaughter.
So you know yourself enough.
I would like to think that I do.
Which is great, and respect to that, because that's a journey. There's a lot of people out there that don't, or they think they do.
Yeah.
They really think they do.
Yeah.
And especially in the community, if you notice, we live in like a monkey see, monkey do kind of, situation, because everybody's close together, everybody knows what's going on. So if one girl's living that lifestyle, and I could flip it to a man, if one guy's living that lifestyle, suddenly, I want to live that lifestyle.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
But guess what? Maybe you're not that kind of person.
Yeah.
So the moment you start living that lifestyle, you realize, like, I don't really care about any of this.
Yeah.
But you've demanded that out of a significant other or a person you're dating.
Yeah.
And maybe that person's not about that. Mm-hmm. So right away, you just sabotaged a potential relationship because you're chasing the wrong things yourself.
Yeah, 100% agree.
But the way that relationship can shift to the bad, I feel like we're missing a lot of the points that a relationship can change that way for the good. Like, no one is ever really stagnant. A lot of, like, my father was an introvert when he met my mom and married her. Now he goes to a lot of parties, and that's really not his shtick, but he does it because he loves my mom.
He chose to do it.
It's compromising. Sure.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a compromise, because a compromise indicates that it's
Giving something up.
It's or that it's done like half-heartedly. Like, my father loves my mother. He grew to want to go to these events because he wants to be with her and he loves her. Let's think about it like that way, instead of being like, you're taking from me, you're taking from me. Let's do it like, maybe if I really see this going somewhere, let me try this out with you. Let's do this together. Maybe we could see it from my side. People will not always like the same things. Oftentimes people who like the same exact things get bored of each other very quickly. Hi guys, my name is Sarah Shimonov. I am 22 years old and I'm a Bukharian artist.
Chivalry is rare.
You guys mind if I lead off?
Go for it.
So, one of the things that I enjoy doing when I go on a date with a girl is I'll ask her at some point after we exchange pleasantries, what's the worst date you've ever been on? And I am never not entertained. Never. Now, if you ask a guy, when they ask me the question reverse, I can't say I had any terrible real dates. Like there was some that were great, but there's no story.
Yeah.
But then I ask myself, why? A message to men, be better. Be better. That's a message to everybody, but especially to men. Be better. Be a gentleman. I'm Al Nustayev. I'm 31. I'm a pharmacist and a co-founder of Invictus Pharmacy. You can do everything you want to do and be better. Yeah. Because why are we on this earth if not to be better? If not to try to be better?
Preach, King.
I think part of it is, first of all, I think we need to scrap the word chivalry because it doesn't apply. Traditional chivalry doesn't exist because we're not knights and we don't ride horses. But what I think women are looking for is how do we behave as gentlemen? Now, knights of the medieval era, they behaved in a courteous, respectful, and a honorable way. So women are looking for men to behave honorably, courteous, respectful. When we're not. Going back to what Alan said, I've heard massive, massive stories, and excuse me, men are idiots. Maybe it's in our wiring, or I'm not going to say that women aren't, because there is the equivalent is ladyhood, which is also diminishing. I will say that gentlemanness is a lot more rarer, but there are women out there who don't know what it's like to be a lady. Granted, there are a lot more men who just aren't aware of what it means to be a gentleman. I will say that you can almost blame the modern feminist movement for this problem. And I want to open up to that because men are confused. You know what? Women are be like, don't hold the door open for me. Hold the door open for me. You know, pay for my bill. Don't pay for my bill. I'm an independent woman. I'm not an independent woman. It's confusing for us. Like, how do we behave when you can get everything you want, but you also want us to treat you in a way where we need to treat you? So it's kind of a catch-22 for men of the modern era of you kind of women, now I'm not saying you, I'm saying the modern feminist women shot themselves in the foot by demanding we are just as good as men, but we also need them.
I think independent just means don't control me. I'm not an object. I think that's the basis of just regular feminism that's not overly liberal and whatnot. It's just, I want to be treated like a human. I want to be treated like a person with values just as much as you are, just because you are a man. That's first in point. Now getting back to the chivalry is rare. Women always have stories, and it's not out of pettiness, it's not out of just laughter, it's just genuine horror stories sometimes. And as women, we don't feel safe as is going out on dates, because we've heard so many stories of women rejecting guys and guys going absolutely nuts about it to the point where they're ready, even in the Bukharian community, to destroy a woman's reputation over them being rejected. So I think most of it is just, I don't see men that have like embarrassment or like self-respect for themselves, much less for the woman. Just basic decency. And, you know, as, you know, the Ashkenaz say, like, just be a mensch, just be a proper, decent person, be kind, be courteous, you know.
Just, if you want to look at it from like a psychological perspective, listen, I've dated some guys, okay? And I noticed that the men who were raised in either an abusive home or without a father in a picture, they were the ones that were the most good to me. They were very good to me. They always pulled a chair out. They're always opening the car door. They're always coming to get me from my door. Like, and then the guys who I've dated that live with their parents, let's say, and are spoiled brats, like mama's boys, those are the ones that they come pick you up. They just put the window on. Oh, hey, I'm here. Come on, let's go. Oh, hey, you smell nice. That's it. Yeah.
Well, it does come down to, you know.
They don't put your coat on for you. Like when you're done with dinner, they're just literally speeding out the door. Oh, I need to smoke my cigarette. Let's go. I'm done.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there like, hello. My jacket's like waiting for you.
I mean, listen, I'm gonna be honest. Usually, most of the time, I would say like maybe 90% of the time when like I pick up a girl, I usually do not open the door for them to get in. But I'll do it, like, if we go out together, like, let's say we're coming back to the car, yeah, I'll open the door. We're going to a restaurant, I'll open the door. I think that might be the only thing I probably won't always do.
Half the time you're sitting in the car. You
know,
don't know when they're
sorry,
coming.
I just think it's like on your phone.
Again, with the next guy I go on a date on with, if they do not come out of the damn car and open the door, I'm leaving.
You don't have to open the door, but at least come out of the
My
car.
eyes are bolting at wherever she's coming
You're just waiting
from.
inside the car.
Whenever I see her walking down, I'm out. I'm ready.
It has to be some
That's
form
the way
But I
it
have
should be.
situations where women said, where they looked at me like, "You don't think I can open my own door?"
Yeah.
This is good.
Okay, those are a little bit weird.
This is there's a raising that comes up how they were raised, but then there's the social influences as well.
It sounds like they
where,
have some sort of
how do you compare when
Who
you have
says that?
Beyonce and what's her name, Ariana Grande say, "I want it, I like it," all the independent women. It's kind of like enforcing where like you don't need men.
No, most adult women don't think like that. Teenagers think like that.
This is
But
also where
this
girls
is
expect
just-
too much comes in. Like if you're opening the door for a woman, and you know it's like a little give and take. Like if you're not going to be nice to me from the very start, why should I be nice to you? Why should I compliment you on your hair and tell you look like Wolverine?
That's a deal breaker for you. That's a deal breaker for you, though.
This is the ladyhood that we're talking about. Chivalry, gentlemanness is diminishing, but the ladyhood is also. Like you're gonna tell me like, you know, I get picked up in BMWs when you get into my car. Like that's rude.
I would never
It's
say
like-
that to anyone.
But it happens.
Most
It's
women
like-
won't say
That's
that.
crazy.
But they have.
I would be
Dating
embarrassed.
the wrong kind of woman.
Well, that's
Is it
coming with
serious
it. They
right now?
weren't
People
taught
say
the
that?
situation. It's
Bukharian women?
well, women,
Well, just
not
women in
Bukharian
general.
women.
I think-
Yeah.
I think we should
If we're talking about
focus-
Bukharian
let's
women,
talk
Can I
about
tell you
Bukharian
this,
women.
guys? So the last guy I dated, he's a Kohen. Okay, so he used. Thank you. That's how I feel.
Святой человек.
Yeah. Такой
this needs liquor.
hard liquor. So he used his status to just make everything okay. Like, oh, you can't tell me to take out the garbage. You can't tell me to open the door. You can't tell me to pour you a glass of water. I'm a Kohen.
Yeah, but you see,
Meanwhile,
I don't know what kind of
before he
guys you
met
picking
me
out.
on
Like,
Safsami,
they seem like idiots
you know?
and like.
spa
see
or
your
whatever.
expectations, and where are your expectations then? Like, come on, like you're going on a first date, or like before you go on a date, like don't you guys like talk it out, see, like feel you guys out before you, like, I don't know, what are you like, your expectations are
He
basically
didn't
not
tell
there.
me he was a co until I don't know, months later.
I wanna piggyback off of what Charles was talking about with ladyhood, right? So, chivalry, granted, agreed, rare. Not many guys are doing it. Not many guys live that way. They should. But ladyhood, let's talk about it for a second, right? What does it mean to be a lady? That means that when you're with your man, a good-looking guy walks by, you're not eyeing that guy down out of respect for the man you're with, right? It's you treat yourself. You're an
Why?
extension of.
Why?
I'll explain. You can look.
Why?
You can
exactly.
look.
Oh, now we could look. You just said not to eye him down.
Eye him down, meaning like, you know.
Oh, break your neck.
If a woman
That's
walks
different.
by the guy and he does this, you think he's not chivalrous. But if a woman does the same thing, is that not ladylike?
And then I'll extend it. You're at a party. You're both of you and your partner at a party. You get twisted. You start acting, you know, a little tipsy. You're feeling nice. You're embarrassing your partner, right? These things, they work in tandem, right? That's ladyhood. It's how to behave in certain situations, knowing that you have a partner, you have a person that you're with.
I'm gonna
You
stop
gotta
you right
respect
there
that.
because
Be
I know
embarrassed of your
so
partner.
many men that are married that act like buffoons at
It
weddings.
doesn't matter about
И
them.
все
Yeah.
смеются на них and they think it's funny.
No.
But how come when a woman and she gets a little bit giggly, and I've seen it, and people are like, oh, Anna palek, she's just,
It's
I'm
double
being serious.
standards,
It's very
unfortunately.
big double standard. So I'm sorry to
When you
say,
say
but
gig- okay, no,
you
it's
have
fine.
to throw it straight away to the men because a lot of women don't drink because they're trying to throw their husband inside the car and he's splitting his pants.
Why are you embarrassed
I'm
of the
sorry.
person you're with?
I'll-
You shouldn't be.
Hold on.
You
You
should
get
love them in
giggly,
every shape
you
and
get
form.
friendly, you get nice.
Not
That's
with
fine.
everybody. I get
No, that's fine.
I'm
really
not
think
talking
it
about
depends where,
flirtatious.
honestly.
I'm talking about having a good time. If I'm gonna throw it back at the other guy, I'm sorry, but I see 10 times more other guys doing this. No, I'm just saying because I'm just.
But
I see it so many times. Like
but-
I've seen at weddings, like boys were drunk, like take musicians, like instruments, and like pretend to smash
I
it.
said before,
they
it's
don't
okay
take them
for the guys.
seriously, though. You know, the thing is,
They
if you
don't take men seriously.
they don't take
but
those
for
men
some
seriously.
women,
They're not
women
going to
have
look at
be
those
taken
boys who are
seriously.
drunk and be like, he's going to be married with kids in 3 years. They're like, durak, like, you know, he's going to do this. But it's
Party though.
it's kind of there's
So why
there's-
can't a woman also do that?
Let's-
at a party?
let's remember-
Go ahead,
she
party.
could,
Listen,
she could,
that's
she
the
could.
most- if it were
But
a
then
bunch
she
of our own
can't
family,
complain
why
about.
not?
At the nature of who men are, we are boys. We're just
Yeah, but
grown
that
ass
can't be an
boys.
excuse.
I'm not saying an
But-
excuse. Hold on. Let's dig into this, right? We're boys. We grow through life. We have responsibilities. Oh, now I got a mortgage. Oh, now I got car payments. I'm still a child, straight up. I just got bills to pay. And when you drink, you go back to your base level. You go back to your base nature. And if your base nature is having fun with the boys, causing a ruckus, screwing around with instruments, I used to throw textbooks out the window in school.
Это нормально to you?
I was a kid.
People
I was
will
doing
say
stupid
that,
shit.
though.
As a, let's say, 30-year-old man, it's normal to cause a ruckus at a wedding and stuff. Like, but
Nah,
для
you
женщины,
got-
Nobody
если
would
мы там
ever
с
say it's
другими-
normal.
So in my like beginning stages of dating, I was like 18, 17, whatever. When guys would start to text me, I would always say, if you're going to pick me up, I would hope that you are, personally. I want you to come to the door and say hi to my dad. Hello, Mr. Deluganovich. We'll practice together, don't worry. It's a hard one, we'll do it together.
She's so cute.
And you're gonna say hi. If my stepmom is there, you're gonna say hi to her too. And that's what I expect. You don't have to ask him for my hand in marriage right now. I'm not saying that. But personally, I would like you to say hello to my father, because if you're picking me up at my house, you're gonna know where I live. Like, it's just who I am. I would say, let me do the mathematicas, 80% of guys ghost me from there.
Really?
Me fully asking you, even Bukharian guys, American guys, Ashki guys, anything. The second I bring up my father and you have to communicate with him at all, hello, goodbye.
They
Where'd
weren't
he go?
serious.
What's up, dude? How you doing?
They weren't serious.
Exactly.
No, completely.
That
I don't
sounds like
need
commitment.
exactly.
No,
That's why I
that's
don't need that.
It's a great screen question.
Oh,
I had a
100%.
Damn,
guy.
that's-
Sorry to cut you off. I had a guy who it was, I think, our second date,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, I'm ready. I want to come say hi to your parents next time I come." He was offering, and it scared me. And I was like, I was like,
a little too fast.
yeah, I was like, no, I think I was happy, in a sense, but then I was also terrified because that meant that he really liked me a lot. He was very respectful, and I was kind of self-sabotaging in a way. But I also at the same time was thinking about my old Bukharian parents and how they have very high expectations. And if you're coming to my house, it must be serious. And it's only our second date. And I didn't want to make them feel like, oh, so my daughter's getting married, because that's all they say to me. "Kai khoni shomeri, kai khoni shomeri," and it's like, I'm trying, I'm working on it, maybe shokhoni mama bio, who knows, And so I found that to be very interesting how like the opposite happened to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wouldn't. So the difference is my dad. He came here, but he came here later in life. He came here 31.
Oh wow.
From Ukraine, Kilomensky, Slava Ukraina. But it's different with him. I would say it is different, them saying hi to him versus them saying hi to my grandparents. Because if they say hi to my grandparents, it's, okay, I'm booking the venue, when you're getting married, when are my kids, like, you're moving in upstairs, like, we're gonna...
Upstairs is
Oh, it's fully. But with my dad's a psychologist. Like, he got his degree when he came here. He's up to date. He understands. He understands just because I'm meeting this boy doesn't mean my daughter's gonna marry him. So I did appreciate that with my dad. So that's why I am more comfortable with them meeting my dad. And it is a perfect screening question. Because if you're unable to speak to my dad, how are you gonna meet him later?
Yeah.
I'll also have, I live with my grandparents, sometimes I'll have them meet my sister. Because she's very get to the point. Like, what are you gonna do with my little sister? Like, where are you going in this? What is this? Okay. What's the insurance? Okay. And then she'll say something to me in Russian, even if they are Russian. Just be like...
Honestly, a lot of it has to be established at a very young age. Like, I had my parents, like, growing up, when I got into somebody's house, she made sure that I had to say hi to everybody.
Oh,
Hi,
yeah.
hi. And it's just like, just gotta be more respectful. Just gotta be a gentleman. You gotta just...
Yeah.
It's not that hard to be a good person, guys.
But that goes back to what Alan was saying earlier. It does start at
At a very young
raising. We have to raise our. When I remind my daughter, and I look at it myself. Like, if I would not want to be, if she was dating someone like me, and I'm not proud of that, then I need to fix me. So I have to demonstrate to her what that person looks like. So I open the door for her. I remind her, like, yeah, I'm paying the bill for her. I do dishes for her. Like, I kind of remind her, like, this is kind of an expected behavior, respectful, how to talk, how to treat, especially with treating her mom. So it's a very important thing.
That's pretty good.
And even divorced, even divorced with her mom, I still respect her as a person, as a woman. She sees that, and hopefully she sees that, and like hopefully she understands that. Like, that doesn't. You do things because it's right, not because it's expected of you. A lot of guys behave gentlemanly because they're expecting that, for that outcome at the end. But if they do it because it's the right thing to do, then you get the serious ones. Again, that's a great screening questions, because if they're not interested in you, like, now on my conscience, I saw her dad, now I gotta stick by it, so.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to Moonwitch for sponsoring this portion of today's video. The makers of Moonwitch present their unique and delicate melt-in-your-mouth sandwich cookies. Impress your guests and family on your next Slatki Stol with Moonwitch cookies. Support your local small Bukharian business by checking out Moonwitch cookies on Instagram. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Social media is ruining relationships.
I would like to start off as the person that was in the social media era of being birthed. So basically, when I started dating again, of course, like my first boyfriend, I was like 15. Everything we did, it was great. Like, for 15-year-olds, like freshman high school, like, we were going out, we were doing stuff. But I constantly compared it to the stuff I was seeing on Instagram. Constantly. I'm like, yeah, but see, they have more fun. Like, they didn't take the train there. And I've obviously grown, thank you. But I constantly, and it was also being young, it was also being impressionable. It's a freshman in high school. I constantly compared it. I was constantly comparing, okay, but like my favorite influencer, she's doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm not good enough. This relationship isn't working. I think we're done. I don't like this anymore. This is not what I imagined in my head. This wasn't on my vision board. It wasn't on my Pinterest board. But obviously, like, I grew up. But after years and finding myself, like, I stopped dating for a while. I found who I think right now is, like, Leanna. Now I won't even pay attention to it. Do I like it? Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, my friends, like, they're going out. Like, I love that for them. But I'm never going to sit there and compare it to who I'm with right now.
So I just want to say that social media is the number one just killer of relationships. I feel like there's so many things that you can see on there, such as big booty hoes and your guys like and comment. And there are guys who just look. They don't like and comment. But then there are guys who like to slide into the DMs. And then it's called emotional cheating. And guys laugh at that because I don't know why you guys laugh. It's a real thing. That's how it starts, social media. I would say, to keep it short and sweet, I think it's very important that if you're in a serious relationship leading to marriage or getting married, delete all social media. Unless for me, for example, I use my social media, I've been using it for years for advertising my business. And that's the only form of advertisement that I have. So for me, it's super important to keep social media. But it also depends what you're posting on your stories. So whoever I end up being with, they have to be understanding that this is the reason why I have a business page and nothing else goes on here, and that's it. But I don't feel comfortable with my future husband having all these like platforms, Snapchat now, Instagram, TikTok, all of these social network. They all have like DMs and you can talk to people. Snapchat's the most dangerous. Everything gets deleted within 24 hours. So it's like, you know? So that's
personally,
my
like
take.
Listen, social media is bad in a way because you know what? I've been in a lot of relationships where people start comparing what other people do, where they go, what they see, what they eat, what they have. And it's like, yo, stop comparing. Yo, live your life. Who cares? If they got it, good for them. But also, like, social media is, I mean, I use it so, you know, I have a lot of friends. Like, back in, like, middle school, elementary, I still kind of stay in contact. It's my way of staying connected to a lot of them. But, again, it's just comparing how other people live. Like, they see what they have, they want it to. Like, don't compare. Like, you'll get there. Just work it. You know, work your way up there. Hi, my name is Eddie, and I'm a barber.
Most of the time on social media, everything's fake.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
I had a friend that I was very close to for many, many years. She was my travel buddy, whatnot, whatever. She had the worst marriage, okay? She was miserable, and so was he. You couldn't tell, because every post that she put, they're kissing, they're on vacation.
That's the trend. That's the projection of
this
this is
is
what I want my relationship to be,
Yeah.
and it's always the counter to what it is. People, right, and they want the validation from the external environment, people liking it, so that they feel like this is really what it is, but it's not. It's a lie to yourself. But my take on why social media is not great, it has its pros. I had, you know, very close people to me found their significant others through J-Swipe. You know, God bless. But what I think is, in a world of access, right? Before in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, you meet a person, you gotta hunt that person down. You gotta get the number, you gotta send the pigeon with the little letter, you know, you gotta find where they're at. You gotta put some work into that.
I like that though.
Options out there.
I like that.
With this litany of options,
lived in that era.
it devalues.
Yeah.
It devalues the individual because you think you have this whole sea to choose from, right? And it gives you a two-dimensional look of what this person is. It's not like, who is this person? I want to hear you. I want to feel you. It's, oh, what's your page look like? Oh, you don't look so good in pictures. Oh, I don't like where you're posting. I don't like the way, the style, the tints of your pics. You know, it just becomes this very abstract thing of how we're judging another person that you're supposed to be trying to
But
date.
does that mean you have an insecurity within yourself if you don't like a certain post that a girl's posting?
I think if you're judging somebody off of social media, 100%, you got to reevaluate. You got to reevaluate what you're actually doing with yourself. But I think it's a crisis that this new generation is facing.
I had an ex who kept on pointing out that I'm posting too much for attention, okay, and it was literally nothing provocative. Next thing you know, I find out the reason why he was so annoying about it was because he's the one talking to girls in DMs, okay? And yeah.
To be honest,
look over here.
Although honestly, I don't think like a person like Like if you're dating or you're married, I don't think you should just be posting just yourself, honestly.
Well, yeah.
I don't think it's insecurity. I think it's just you're attracting a different crowd, you know, and it's like you're looking for trouble. Like if you're gonna post something, post with your significant other, your friends, whatever
See,
the case might be.
that used to be me. I used to want to post my boyfriend, my this, my that. Now, if I have a man in my life, I don't post him away from Ayin Hara. I don't need it. Ninada. I don't need people to know anything. That's it. It's none of anybody's business. When you live a private life, it lasts longer.
I've been hearing everything everybody's been saying, and I do agree with many points, but we ignore the fact, this is a fact, social media is a tool, and you're blaming the tool for what people are neglecting themselves. It's like, you could use a knife to make a great meal. You could also use a knife to kill the thing that's going to make the meal. But you forget, like, oh, the knife is the problem, the gun is the problem, the car is the problem. Instead of blaming the driver, instead of blaming the user. Before social media came on, I don't know if everyone realized, but there were other things that caused relationships to fail. You don't blame the things that caused it. Like, men had little porno magazines and videotapes. They had their little they had little side.
This made it much worse.
It's a tool. Again, before cell phones came off, people were reading newspapers. Everybody said, oh, everybody's having their head in their cell phone. What do you think they were looking at on the bus? Their heads were in the newspaper. These tools enable people to be more of who they are. It doesn't cause, there's a psychological thing called correlation doesn't cause causation. Yeah. Just because you see the trend, that doesn't mean it's the reason.
I disagree with you though, fully. I hear you on the tool thing, but I think it's more than a tool. A knife is a knife. It's an object, an inanimate object, but this is not a knife. It's not an inanimate object. This thing reacts with you. It tells you what to like. It tells you what to believe. And if you're an impressionable kid, and you don't know yet what the world is, you're learning from this thing. This thing is guiding you. This thing is your God, especially if you don't have the Torah, especially if you don't have good people in your circle, good parents. This thing is your God. And this thing can guide you either on the right path or on a very bad path.
The people in your life can help guide you, not the thing. The thing is inadequate. The thing doesn't care. It's indifferent. The people in your life is responsible. My job as a parent is to guide my daughter when she has social media, to explain to her what she's looking at. Parents are neglectful of that. If that's going to be the case, this is a tool. When you read all this stuff about what's going on, I'm involved. Like, what did you just read today? What did you see? Oh, look, my friend just went to Aruba. I'm like, and what does that make you feel? To really get involved in it. This is a tool to share. You could use it for pros and cons, for business, to share joy, but unfortunately, it's the misuse of the tool. Yes, it enables things on a much greater frequency, but we now, as people, have to take ownership of, now we have to be more involved.
Do you anticipate a time where your daughter begins to withhold information from you on her social media use? Do you think that could ever happen?
I tell her, I'd rather you tell me something that's disturbing, but at least you tell me. And my reaction is essential. If I react negatively, like, how dare you, she's never going to tell me again. So it's important for me as a parent to be very mindful of how I react will open her up to say, I can tell him more. And parents fail to do that. I grew up in situations where the negative reaction means I can never tell them again. Yep. Now I hold my information, but I'm not vulnerable anymore. So I have to make her feel vulnerable to share these deep, intimate things without her feeling she's in danger. That's essential with the use of any tool. Don't let them feel that they're in danger by being vulnerable with you, even if you don't like hearing what they just said. My daughter tells me she's in a relationship. I'm like, what kind of relationship with that? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, tell me a little bit more about what's going on. So now she's more open to telling me about these situations. My name is Charles. I'm 40 years old. I'm an organizational psychologist and an actor.
So yeah, it matters the approach, but also with social media, that like when you look at a magazine, you look at a porn star, I can't contact that porn star. With social media, I could actually contact that porn star. So it's like, you're just making the attempt. Like, yeah, you have to be responsible, with your own, whatever the decision you make, but it's there. And because it's there, people use it. People
Which porn star?
Lisa Ann, actually. Hi, my name is Eddie, and I'm a barber.
I blame Mark Zuckerberg for all the bad relationships.
It's not their fault. They gave us the tool.
They created Facebook so you can speak to your distant family members.
And
in Israel, and
used
here
it.
and there.
You know what it is
We
also?
turned it into what it is now.
Now it's WhatsApp.
It's also the information they give us. It's not just the relationship, it's also what Facebook and all this exposed to us. It's all the good and the bad, and it's what he says. It's we have to take responsibility, and it's how we take responsibility that will affect what we do. So. Спасибо. Вау. Ну, это уже по-другому.
Bukharian. Bukharian.
Girl, what you looking up for? Not the blessing, the blessing.
I split the bill.
Yes! Nobody agreed. Thank you, God.
Right?
Disagreeers, please step forward.
Let's do this.
This is one of my like pet peeves
Okay.
because there's a bit of that traditional old school side of me. If I'm gonna ask you out, it's my responsibility to take care of everything about that experience. I have had girls like come up to me, but like, you're gonna take me out. That's a little manipulative. They're coming about like, you know, they're expecting me to pay for it, but they're asking me. It's kind of like, you know, I'm not gonna pay for it. If they ever do that, I ask them, so are you gonna pay? My thing is, if you're asking the person, I'm gonna take you out, if you're saying I wanna take you out, you are responsible for paying that. And there have been cases where they did say, how about you take me out? And they kind of took out their wallet out of like I just felt wrong about it. Like, no, don't even bother with that. Like, I get that they want, it kind of goes on that whole chivalry and expectation thing, like, you know, that independence side, but I still believe that it's the man's job to provide the experience for the woman. Mm-hmm. Like, your job is to blow her away.
I mean, listen, I'll be honest. I actually like it. Not that I'll let them ever pay. I'll always pay, but I kind of like it when I like to hear when like, oh, can I chip in? Can I give in? I'm like, yeah, no, don't worry. I mean, I don't know if they assume they know that we're gonna pay for it, but I kind of like the idea that they do say it.
That
Actually,
offering?
yeah, the offer, little small things.
Genuine offer.
Why?
Yeah.
Hold on, why do you like that?
I don't know, like.
It's a thoughtfulness.
I read a quote where it said like the woman was saying like, if my man pays for movie tickets, I'll buy the popcorn. It was just like something small like that. So it's like, it comes back to teamwork.
If you're 17 years old, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I'm 17 years old? Nah.
I don't care about the offer. Mm. You know, if you offer, you don't offer, I'm going to do it anyway. What I do appreciate is gratitude. Mm-hmm. Simple gratitude. And I'm not expecting you to like bend over, no, just a simple, honest thank you.
I appreciate it. Dinner was great.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's
appreciation. That's it.
Wow.
You give me honest gratitude.
Where have you been all my life?
I'm right here, girl.
That's the expectation some women have, that because I'm a woman, you're supposed to do this for me. So I don't have to thank you. And I've had situations like that.
Well, it's always been that role where men have to.
But to understand that in this modern day era, knowing that you as a woman can't take care of yourself, it's actually harder because of the market. If anybody knows economics, the market desaturated. So whatever the breadwinner used to make, now we make half of, because now there's women working in the workforce. So we don't have as much to provide. So if we're going out of our way, if we're going out of our way to take care of you, that appreciation, at least sort of like, you know, it's appreciated, because we don't live in that world anymore. But we're still trying to remind you that you are the most important things to us, beings to us. We care about your experience.
It's in a man's nature to provide, to want to provide. It makes you feel good about yourself. Yeah. But there are times when women, when they offer to pay, or some men get intimidated. They're like, or if anything, or if the woman's driving a nicer car, or can buy herself her own vacation, I don't know, a trip, you know, they get intimidated. So I don't know. I've had situations where I think it depends. If you're going on a date, then yeah, I mean, it makes sense for the man to pay. I've been in long-term relationships where there were times where I've noticed that he was maybe struggling. And I was like, you know what, my treat when we got there. But I did it in a way where he didn't feel embarrassed, and I handed him my card or the cash before we got into the, you know, establishment, and he paid for it. He made it look like he's paying for it. So there are ways to make a man feel like a man without belittling him, for sure. And then there were times when I've gone on just friendly dinners with just a guy friend, you know, and actually one of my girlfriends was with us, and this specific girl always expects the man to pay for everything, even though he's just a friend. And I think that's wrong. So if we're just friends, so this is what happened. All three of us went to dinner. He picked up the bill. I didn't eat because it wasn't a kosher place, whatever. I only eat kosher. So then we went for hookah and coffee and tea, and I felt bad. The bill came out to like, again, $200 something. I was like, you know what? We're splitting this one. And she like nudged me like this. She's like что ты делаешь? I'm like, no, come on, that's messed up. Throw your card in. We're all splitting this. And you know what? He accepted the offer. He was like, okay, no problem. That's fair. Because he's only a friend. He's not dating us.
Right.
So it depends on the situation. You know, I'm a hairstylist, so I hear a lot of crazy stories from my clients. And there was this one girl, she was like, Yana, you don't know, I met this guy, he's amazing, we had the most amazing conversation, and I'm really upset. And I'm like, why? If it went well, she was like, well, I don't know, everything was fine, the dinner went great, we had a really good conversation, and then the bill got there, and he was like, we're splitting this, right?
Oh my God.
And I was like, wait, what? I was like, I hope you didn't split it. So she was like, I did, but like we never spoke again after that. And she's like, why do you think he did that? Everything went well. So I said, it could be that maybe he's not interested in you in that way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's usually the first sign that women tell me that if they're on a date and they offer to split the bill, it means that they're not looking at the next date. Like they've already checked out. Like if I'm gonna say what split it, it means I don't want a second date.
He friend zoned her,
Yeah.
like on
Nah,
date.
I'd still
Women
pay for
and
it.
men do that.
I still pay for it. I don't think that's
Yeah, I
right.
think
And
I
then
don't
there are
care.
times when I had an ex that I would be like, hey, my treat, I want to go to this restaurant and it's expensive, let's say, or maybe he doesn't want to go to this place, but I'm like really determined to go. I'm like, my treat, my treat. He'll be like, you know what, I'll go just to make you happy, but you're not paying. I got this. And I'm like, all right, mujik. That's the way it's supposed to be, I think. You know?
I want to push that a little bit further for men in general. If you're going to take the responsibility of taking her out, if the bill comes, you take it. Like, you know, I've seen $300 bills. I'm like, eyeballs rolling, like, oh my God, I can't pay for this. But you said you're going to be responsible for taking her out. It's like, don't ask the girl out if you cannot follow through to the very end. Be like, I got this.
Or just don't take it where you can't afford it.
Or
Simple.
that.
Like, don't try to
Yeah.
impress her with like.
Right.
Because then you're giving her the wrong idea. Like, don't do that.
Be
But
ready
at the
to
same
be ready to follow through. To the moment you say, I'm going to take you out, and she says yes, it is your job to make sure everything is fine. She should go home without worrying about any fun. Like, she should go home and feeling, wow, that was great, or wow, that's okay.
I don't know.
whatever.
The way
But,
I was
yeah.
raised in my household, I have 3 brothers, my dad, my cousins, we're all very close. You know, the man is the provider. My dad never lets my mom pay for anything when they go to shashlik, the banya, this, that, whatever. Nothing. And it's like, this is what I was raised to see. Like, this is what I know. It's all I know. So it's like, you know, a man is the provider. I mean, that's it. My mom, of course, helps if she can, if he needs. She's
Right.
always pushing him to do better, to grow in his business and this and that. That's a woman's job, to help you grow, to lead you in the right direction. They say the man is the head and the woman's the neck of the house, right?
Well, you help each other grow.
Right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to piggyback off of what you guys were like saying. Like if a woman, like if you can't take a woman out, like, you know, don't be scared to like choke up. I feel like at the same time on a woman's part, like when I feel like a lot of women, they see a guy's taking them to like Wall Street Grill, they go nuts. And I feel like that's already like not so nice on that part because it's like, to say it's like, why are you even going crazy on salads, this, that, appetizers, and dessert?
Like
And you-
over-ordering?
Yeah, over ordering, and
Oh,
you're not
okay.
even taking it to go. If you're taking it to go, is a separate
Because
thing.
they're testing them to see if they're
Yeah, I
cheap.
don't like those
Yeah.
tests. Like,
Yeah.
can
And
you
then
really
and then
go
the,
for it?
and then the
So
conscious.
nice.
I've dated women like this is one of the cases where you date a woman like, oh, I want to order the expensive meal. And if again, dating is one thing. If you're in a relationship, they should understand kind of like that teamwork. She's actually said, no, you're struggling, or like, you have to save money. She would actually tell me, no, let's get the less expensive meal. We're still going to be fed. It's still a good meal, but we're not going to have the steak.
Right.
That level of, it's nice to hear that. It's kind of another way of saying thank you for
She just
doing
reminded
that.
me of something. So I remember I was speaking to one of my friends and I was telling her, this was a long time ago, I was like, I'm going on a date with this guy. I don't know what do I do? She's like, Yana, order the most expensive thing on the menu and don't eat it. Don't eat all of it. Leave it there. And I'm like, really? I'm like, that's messed up.
That is messed up.
That is so messed
That
up.
is messed up. And you know what, lady? Don't play games with the guy.
Yeah.
Don't say yes because you know you're going to get a free meal. A lot of
Yeah.
women do this, and it's actually, this is one, as a guys, it turns us off from wanting to keep going out with you
It's
because
a two-way street, though, the way I see it. You're right. That's the trade-off, right? Women, we're gonna pay for your meals. As men, we should pay for your meals. We should put a roof over your head. We should provide. We should make sure there's Everything is taken care of essentially. But what's the trade-off? You guys carry a baby for 9 months. You know, we don't have to do that. We don't got to go through the pain of labor.
Good thing you know that.
It's hard being a woman. I'm not gonna deny that.
Let me ask you guys a question. Are you the type of guys to, like when the bill comes, going back to the bill, right? So do you like take the bill and like hold it close to you and like,
Yeah, I try not to let.
I take it away and I hide it.
or are you the type that like the bill comes and you share it with the girl and you're like, and this is not a first date, this is just like whatever, you're ready with the person for a while. How much tip should I leave just because they want you to see
No.
how much
They don't see the
You
bill.
should not discuss
They don't
it.
see. They as soon as it comes in, they don't get to see it. Like they don't know how much it cost me.
The
That's
best
it.
move
Like-
is you just whip your card out when the
Yeah,
waiter's walking
exactly.
by. You don't even ask for the check. You say, take
It's like
care of it.
just take care of it.
That just makes it easier.
My brother used to, when he went on dates with girls, he used to give the card to the waiter in the beginning. He says, whatever happens, don't even come to me with the bill. Charge it.
Take care of it.
Slip it back to me. We're
You
gonna
see?
leave like that. But not every guy is gonna do that. And not every guy can
You know,
afford to
you want
do
to hear
that.
something
They
even
should
better
listen
than
and
this?
take notes.
My ex,
Bye-bye.
before, if he knew a friend and I or my sister and I are going to eat somewhere, he would call the restaurant and give them a credit card on the phone.
Yeah.
That table,
That's
that girl, that I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would, ask for the bill, and the waitress would be like,
It's covered.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what kind of like feeling that is for a woman? It's like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Like, I have the best guy ever.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I love that.
That's good.
Woo, guys, woo!
We're on a roll.
Something we all agreed on.
Finally.
Their past bothers me.
I think bothers is the wrong word. I think potentially concerns can impact. Those words work. There's things that happen to us, from youth, from childhood, teenagehood, 20s, 30s, whatever happens. If you were traumatized as a kid, right, which happens a lot of people don't talk about it, they keep that stuff inside. If you didn't process that, let's say as a woman, that manifests itself in the way you deal with your man, in different situations, it comes out. If you had a million male partners, if you were promiscuous, that manifests itself in the way you interact with your man. So I do want to know a person's past. I do want to know, what have you been through in general? And have you reconciled, if it was traumatic issues, have you reconciled that? Have you gotten over that? What have you uncovered about yourself? Because the truth is we've all had things happen to us. We've all had problems, trials, tribulations, and it's either sink or swim. You either overcome those things or those things overcome you.
So, I mean, like I said, it's their past definitely bothers me depending on what the situation is, because a lot of times, whatever they go through in their past, they end up bringing it back to us. Well, at least when I was in a relationship, their past ended up affecting me, and it's just hard to deal with. And sometimes it's good to know before we actually start dating, because then you realize, like, do you really want to tolerate this? For me, I can't tolerate a lot of their I was in a recent, not a recent relationship, but I was in a relationship in the past where their past was, after they told me, I thought, you know what, I can handle it. We can fix this, we can work on it, and eventually it just kept getting worse and worse. And as much as I was trying to fix it, it kind of caused it to, to a breakup. So their past do bother me. It's good to know what they go through, so it's pretty much what you can handle, in their past.
Yeah. So, I have dealt with a few different types of people, but listen, the truth is, we all, like you said, we all have a past, so it's hard to I don't know, it's complicated. It's like, do you leave the person because, do you just give up on someone that you love because of their past, or do you stick around and work on it? I mean, I'm the type to stick around and work on it, but the other person has to be willing to work on it as well. It takes two to tango. You can't fight alone, right?
Yeah, if you're alone, you can't do it. Facts. Yeah.
That's the thing with me. But for me, the biggest thing is if a person had a drug abuse problem in the past and they told me about it, let's say after somebody told it to me on a first date, I'm a recovering addict. And I'm like, okay, no judgment, but that's always going to be in the back of my mind. Is he going to divert to taking drugs whenever, what's your trigger point? What triggers you, I don't know. And then there are other addictions to, you know, people who have past drug abuse problems like alcoholism, and they're addicted to sex, and they're addicted to they have an addictive personality. They're trying to compensate, you know, for something else. And they always end up going back to some sort of drug. It doesn't always have to be like a very strong drug that they were on and that what they recovered from, but it always ends up being weed, which to me isn't considered a drug, you know, but they abuse it. That's when the problem occurs. You know, they abuse it, and when that's not enough anymore, they're like, oh, I want to feel some more. Maybe I'll just go with shrooms now. And then, you know, and then it's just like I don't know.
It's just no matter what are you ready to tolerate? What are you willing to tolerate?
You know, there's that. Then there's other people that have, you know, daddy issues. Their daddy wasn't around their whole lives. Their daddy was in jail their whole lives. And it's like, that affects your relationship too.
Big time.
You know, because this person was raised by his grandma and mom. So now this person knows how to cook and clean and has OCD on how you make the bed and how you wash the dishes. And it's like, it's tough. It's a lot of things. It's all psychological.
Can we disagree? Step forward.
You want to go first?
Me?
Yeah.
Of course.
Can I have the pickles?
So I did agree with what a lot of you guys were saying, but I think with proper acknowledgement of your past and working on yourself, that's always the thing that I have, is I always want the person I'm going to be with, whether that be friendships or relationships, that you're gonna work on yourself. You're gonna know what's going on, what in my past did I do wrong? How can I be better? I always do that. I will always look at a situation, okay, what did I do and how can I make this better, and how can I have made this situation, not a perfect situation, a better situation. Of course there's people that I've met that their pasts were too much. It's the same thing with me. I was with someone who was a recovering addict, but it became too much because first of all, I was young. I was newly 18.
You're still young.
I'm still a baby, but I was even young. I was even more of a baby. And for me, at that point in my life, it was too real. It was their past, and I couldn't get over it. Did I care for them? Of course I did. But it stopped me from caring for them further than I should have. But I acknowledged it. I love that they grew from it, because they completely grew from it. They were clean 2 years at the time. But I can't acknowledge that they grew from it, that I've grown from my past. You guys have grown from your past. All of you have grown from your past. You have to acknowledge it and work on it and continue. That's my opinion on the matter.
I agree with that. I think that most of the time, a lot of us, we like to come into a relationship and think of ourselves as, we don't have skeletons in our closet, we're all good. What's the other person hiding? Where's the dirty patch? And most of the time, a lot of people, they go through life working on themselves, working with each other in the relationship. So I feel like if a person has a past, as long as, I like to think of in the moment, like if you're not continuing that past, like if you're not out with girls or partying every night or making poor decisions, if now you've changed and you're on that set path, as long as you're gonna work with it, like what Yana said, I'm gonna work with you as best as I can, you know. And a lot of the times, and you know, when you do fall in love with someone, more often than not, it's very hard to rip away from that. It's not so easy to just go away from a person. It's very hard to like just go away just because the, you know, addict is in the back of the mind. People stay with abusive people for years, and then, you know,
Trauma bonded.
It's trauma bonding, but I don't think that being with a recovering addict is necessarily trauma bonding. It could be that it's like a caretaker like instinct or something like that, but you do want to see someone be better. You do want to see your loved one be healthy. So I think when it gets to a point in a relationship where you guys are starting to get really close, and then that comes out, then
it's not your job to save a person.
No, I'm not saying it's not your job, but I'm saying that if you guys are working together with it, and remember, you're going in a relationship thinking, what can I do for the other person? And they're supposedly doing the same.
Someone has like a long history.
Yeah.
Does Does that bother you?
Depends.
That like I've dated women who were promiscuous. Going back to the whole concept of, are you currently promiscuous? And when we say past, we're not talking about a month ago. We're talking about like, this is a long 6 months, a year ago. That's your past. People don't change overnight, and especially over a month. If this was something you were, and the key thing is like, I'm dating your present. I'm not dating your past. I want to, and obviously, as Yana said, that you're not there to fix them, but you're there to support their journey. Before you met me, you wanted to change. You wanted to be better. You realized that like I've been promiscuous. It's not who I want to be. I stopped. I'm like, in a way, 6 months sober. When you met them, your job isn't to fix them. Your job is to like, encourage you, keep it up.
So you believe people change?
I believe people change if they want to change, not because they want other people to change. Yeah, not even for the right. The person who should change for, you should change for yourself. I'm the right person that I need to change for. And if you and other times you can get inspiration from other people, but they're not the cause. Because if you take away this person, your change has been vain. So the change needs to come from, I looked at myself in the mirror and the person that I see is not who I want to be. I need to fix that person, and only I can fix that person. My friends are going to help and support me and encourage me.
Wait, I'm sorry. I think that a person both parties need to work on themselves individually,
Yes.
without being in a relationship, to be the best versions of themselves, so that when they do get together, they're building off of each other and they're growing.
Charles,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you think that a woman who's had a very promiscuous past, do you feel that woman is fully capable of engaging in a fully, let's say, committed and
Modest.
deeply modest and emotional relationship after that?
It depends. If she's done the work, if she's reflected, and
Once
she's
a hoe,
understood.
always a hoe.
No, I disagree with you. I disagree with you.
No, I disagree
I
with you.
disagree with you. And again, I've dated
This goes for
women-
men too.
Again, it's anecdotal, but I have evidence of the contrary. And the evidence is, if they chose to change their life, they're not that way. Again, if they're stopping that way because they're trying to get someone else, that's a different
So
story.
let me
But-
ask you a question. So let's say you're getting married, right? You're getting married. This girl used to be very promiscuous.
Mm-hmm.
She changed. You've been married already for 10 years. People change over time. They're never the same person. Are you telling us that you're the type of man that's going to evolve within that relationship and accept her if she becomes promiscuous again? Or are you going to leave her?
Obviously
People change.
not. Obviously
if you
not,
love
but-
the person, you're going to evolve with them.
But who's to
through
say
the changes.
that? But who's to say that a woman, and I have experience with this, is who's to say a woman that has never been promiscuous, they're a brand new virgin, you've just been in a relationship, and now their curiosity starts to spark. Who's to say you guarantee anything? There's no guarantee that if they've never been with anyone, they're only going to be with me. There's no guarantee to say that because they've been with 100 men, they're going to continue being with 100 men. You don't know these things. You let the person show you what work they've done on themselves, and it's actually sense like, what have you learned about this? I've been dating, I've been promiscuous, and you know what? I felt sick to my stomach. I've just felt like I wasn't who I was supposed to be. And for the last several years, I've been working on changing that. It is possible, and not because she's doing it for someone else, because she doesn't like who she became. And she's actively trying to push that to become a better person. I believe that. It doesn't bother me what your past was. What are you doing? Because we all have skeletons, we all have shadows we have to deal with. Yes, we have to work on them individually, but to blame someone and to keep them responsible, if you can't commit to them because you can't handle their past, that's your prerogative. But if you can see that they're putting in the work and there's a connection there, give them the benefit of the doubt.
It takes a very secure man to be with a woman who's been promiscuous.
I prefer that.
Everyone talks about her.
Not
She's
promiscuity.
She's been around. Everyone.
Sorry, but do
guys
you hold
have
the same
stories.
standard with men as well? Do you think they only think about one woman and when they're with her and committed? Men
No,
also
same
change.
goes for men.
Same thing goes
Same-
for
yeah,
men.
it's not
I
just
think
for
we
women.
got to be fair. It's like, if you know what, I
But
don't.
you see, if a man does it, it's
But
okay.
see, you
No,
don't
it's
call them
not. I'm not
promiscuous.
saying
That's
it's
the way
okay,
men
no.
think, though.
Well, but that's again, that's a
Especially in our culture.
misconception. It's a cultural common sense that's
If
been.
a girl acts that way, she's a jalav. If a
So
guy
who?
if a guy acts like that, he's the man.
Not to me.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this on this point. Let's explore this concept here, right? Do you think there's a difference between the way women have sex and the way men have sex.
Yes.
Okay?
1000%.
What do you think the difference is?
Men are very physical
Right.
and visual, and women are very auditory and emotional based.
Correct, 100%. I
Imaginative
couldn't agree
too.
with you more. On that basis alone, I disagree with you wholeheartedly on the premise of promiscuity. With promiscuity with men is very different from promiscuity with women. I'm not excusing either, I'm just making a distinction here. If a woman's been promiscuous with multiple men, that means she is searching for an emotional connection over and over and over and over again. If a man is promiscuous, it's in the DNA to be promiscuous, like a monkey would hump the entire forest because it's just, go. It's what we're wired to do. But a woman being promiscuous over and over and over again, there's a deeper problem there, right? Now, like what Charles is saying, have they reconciled that? Have they done the work? In my eyes, if a woman's been overly promiscuous, for me personally, I don't think I could do that.
This goes back to, does their past bother me?
It does.
Because obviously there's an issue there.
And this is where we agree to disagree. Like, it doesn't bother me.
People are getting married too early.
I disagree.
I'm going to start this off because I got married very young. And the reason why I got married very young, and this is, again, not in any way to, the person who I married to, I wasn't ready because I got married mostly out of convenience. And unfortunately, in the marriage, I ended up discovering who I was, my preferences, and what I liked. And through that experience, I realized that we were growing, that we were very different people. Now, there are two. I think there are the kind of people that would get married young are the ones that don't really care about having their identity so much for themselves and want to share an identity with someone else. If they're okay with that, be like, you and me are like one. Like, we're one individual. Like we're not different. Like, that's one thing. But if you are a person that values kind of like your own independence and if you don't know that earlier on, you're getting married, you might get hurt later.
Well, I'm going to go back to being Bukharian and how we were raised and how they grew up in a Muslim country and it was like a known thing to get married young. Some people even sold their kids for money or for a goat or for whatever, okay? And because Bukharian parents have that mentality of being very aggressive and like demanding and, you have to respect us and, it really puts pressure on the kids and the kids don't want, and a lot of them also in their homes are physically abusive. They hit their daughters. But you want that Adela miniskirt. Why are you wearing that red lipstick? Disney me, and if you don't listen, you get whipped, and because of that, I feel like people that I grew up with, personally, Bukharians only I'm talking about, got married very young, just to get out of the house. Okay, and not necessarily was it because they were head over heels for the guy they were with. They just found a way out through him. Yeah. And you know what? I'll say that most of them are still married to the same person. Their families have grown. They're religious. They follow the Torah. And it was a big struggle because you get married at 18 years old. What do you have? You're still learning about yourself. You're still growing. You don't have a job really. You're still in college. Some of them were even still in high school. And I see this today too, not just with Bukharians, but in the Syrian community too. In Brooklyn, I've been to recently maybe 3 or 4 weddings. And I look at the bride and I'm like, how old is she? She looks 12, and I just don't get it. I don't get it. What do you know about life that you're getting married?
So it's true. You know what, to be honest with you, I have seen a lot of younger couples get married. And you know what, to be honest with you, it does work. It does work with a lot of family support, but with all honesty, I feel like getting married young, you're just giving up a lot. I feel like there's a lot out there where there's just so much you have to learn, so much to experience. Yeah, they usually say, you'll experience it with your significant other or all that crap, but you know what? It's different when you're experiencing it on your own because you're learning and developing on your own. It's a whole different life. Like, I got married at 22 and young age in my opinion, honestly, and my dad, I think, he got married actually at 22 and he's still married happily, but I guess it's a different era right now. There's so much that is given to us. There's so much to experience here, and I feel like when you're married, you're putting yourself. It's a different what's that word? Value. Yeah, you have different values when you're married, and then when you're not married, there's just other values. There's other things you want to learn. There's other things you want to see, and then sometimes being in a marriage, you're stuck. So, and plus also when you get married young,
it depends on where you're like, yeah, when you were growing up, you know, if you might have been growing up with the family value system where like you want to build a family. In that case, getting married young makes sense because what else? You're not there to experience life. You're there to build a family. So depending on what you were raised with, that does, you know, it does kind of make sense. I might personally disagree because I think that, you know, but that their focus in the marriage and their life is the family. And religion and Torah, so like that's a shared value, and they will live with that. There's nothing else really outside to look at.
Plus, people getting married very early in the sense where like they're just trying to get out of the house. They're getting annoyed at their family. They just want to be on their own. They want to be independent, and they feel like the only way out is to basically.
Listen, it's very difficult for me personally. I do still live with my family, my parents, and I refuse to move out until I get married because I do have this. I'm still traditional, and this is what I want for myself. And also I feel like, listen, I could live anywhere in the world that I want right now. I'm independent. You know, I don't have to live with my parents. First of all, it's very hard at my age to live with them, but I choose to stay. And it made me very resilient to like a lot of things that they say. Like, I just don't even bother with it anymore. My sisters got married young. And my brothers, actually. I'm the only one that kind of broke that cycle in my family. And my parents are slowly starting to, you know, understand and see what's going on in the world, that it's not that easy like it used to be. Like my mom got married at 16, okay? She was seeing him at 15, got married at 16. And, you know, she had 6 kids and thank God everything's beautiful. But
they had communities. They had, there's not so much community.
It's different. Their marriage is different. Like there were times when I used to say, I wish I can have that, what my parents have, like to be married for 50 years. And like, no matter what happens, they never leave each other's side. They do everything together. The wife, my mom closes her eyes on certain things, turns an ear, like, you know, like it's different. Nowadays, forget it. Everybody's so outspoken and they'll communicate their feelings. This bothering me, that bothering me. And then everything just goes to shit, you know?
I think, you know, everybody made valid points, 100% on all that. If you're young and you're going into a marriage, it's going to take maturity. It's going to take patience. How many people at a young age are mature and how many people at a young age are patient? Because you don't know life yet. As much as you think you do, you don't. Life will show you. And so you're discovering life through your partner and they're discovering life through you. And if you have the maturity and patience to take the hits that are to come and the battles that you're going to have to face together, you can overcome, you will, just as our parents did in their generation. And you know, that mindset will get you through it. But if you don't have that, if you're doing it for what you guys are saying, which is the wrong reasons, because you know you want to get out of the house, or because the rabbi told you, you know, let's do this, or because you know you want to have sex, you want to rush to get into the bed, right? You're doing it for the wrong reasons. Expect bad problems. Expect consequences.
I think you guys all made valid points. I not for the notion, obviously, that I want to get married young. I'm 22, and my mom was 22 my age. She had my brother and me, and I'm not at that stage yet. I'm not ready. But I feel like couples nowadays, when they are like 19, 20, and they get married, if they're ready, they're ready. Like, they can go for it. And most of the time when they do get married that young, they do have that amazing support system. They're very mature kids. A lot of them were like working from a very young age, so they know, like, they don't really, I don't feel like you really need to have an experience in life because it will anyways come to you. And I think it's beautiful that you can have it with your partner and share it and go through it with them. It does make it harder, of course, but I'm not saying that it's impossible to do. Our parents and grandparents have made it thus far, some of them under questionable circumstances, but I still think that young people, if they're ready, do it. Go for it. You know, you can still have fun when you're married. You don't it's not a ball and chain. And I think that I don't think it's much of a problem unless it's like if a child is clearly trying to get out of a parent's house and is spoiled and whatever, then that's definitely needs to be monitored. But other than that, most of our, you know, молодежи, please, I sound so old. Most of our like young kids, like nowadays, they're really, if they're ready, they'll go for it. And if they come into troubles, that's what life is. You know, it is what it is.
Cheating is normalized nowadays.
Girls gonna be alone.
It's not accepted, but it's
I
very
think
much done.
It's dismissed. I think it's normalized meaning that like they look at it as it's okay.
Yeah.
Like if you do it, it's okay. That it's
Who?
common.
Who's doing it?
Like if you
If
cheat,
the man does it, it's fine.
that's true.
If the
that's
woman
true.
does it,
Yeah.
not a
There's
not a
women
chance.
on social media telling telling women, if your man ain't doing this, if your man ain't doing that.
Word.
Well,
Actually-
that's like
Next
their
best thing.
Actually,
Somebody else will do it.
Statistically
Two sides.
speaking, women cheat more than men. They just know how to hide it better. That's statistically speaking. Because men are expected to cheat. So when women cheat, it's often dismissed as impossible. So there's like this is just I'm just stating a statistic that's out there. Women are as equally
That doesn't mean the
capable of
statistic is
cheating
true.
as men are.
Yeah.
That's
No,
like
I agree with
yeah.
that. But
So-
but I'm telling you, like, look at all, like, I guess, people that blow up their lives, celebrities. How many times has the guy cheated with like
Yeah.
random people that they? I mean, they kind of do it to themselves. They like take them to very inappropriate places, like the club and whatnot, and you know, basically do crazy things there. But the second that the woman cheats, everyone labels her off. She loses her career, or like she loses millions
Look at Jada
of
Pinkett
followers.
Smith. She cheated on Will, and like no,
And she's-
she destroyed him.
She's a villain.
Yeah, because
You
when a
realize no
woman
one likes
cheats, you're
her.
in trouble.
destroyed this man.
Yeah.
She destroyed this man.
Well,
But is the question is it normalized? Is it accepted? Do we?
it's not accepted.
It's not
but
okay.
But it's
I don't think it's
normal.
fine. I don't think that's good at all. Like,
I
come
think
on.
that it has always existed. It will always exist. Nothing has really changed in that department. We're just in a world now where it's more exposed because more information travels around.
Social media.
And social media, and then
It
you
all
have
comes down to
certain
that.
voices in each community
Yeah.
touting it to say, oh, it's okay if this happens. Oh, it's okay if that happens.
No, it's not okay.
I agree. I think that if you're trying to normalize bad behavior, you are doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It is not good to cheat on your
A
significant
woman
other.
could be doing everything right. Same goes for men sometimes, and she still can get cheated on, and then that hurts her. That hurts her ego. It's like, what did I do wrong?
Right.
Beyonce.
Yeah. You could do everything right. You could do perfect and still lose. But that's the thing is that's how life is. You could do everything perfect and still lose. That's life. That's you have to accept that. Like it's
But it's not accepted to cheat. You understand? It's like
Yeah.
people will be like, "Он безобразный," but like
Yeah.
again, they'll often tell the woman like, "It's okay, поговори с ним, talk to him."
I'll
this
give
and
you a
that."
scenario. I'll give you a scenario, right? Because you're talking about the double standard.
Right.
A woman could do everything right. A guy could still cheat. A man has to do a lot of things wrong for a woman to cheat in most cases. And that goes back to what we were talking about in the last
Emotional.
round, which is it's an emotional thing
Yeah.
versus it's a physical thing.
Yeah.
And so that's why we in society, a lot of times we dismiss the man's behavior because there is a truth to that basic principle that it is a physical thing for a man. A man can, I'm not excusing it, but a man can cheat on his wife, go home that night and love her more than he did the day before, and not even think for a second about whatever he just did. Like literally left his mind.
I disagree. I think it's
I am-
entirely selfish.
I am not speaking to the selfishness of it. I'm just stating
Don't
that
do something
simple-
you wouldn't want done to you.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, but
I- I'm-
that's
And if you want to cheat, or if you feel like you're about to cheat, and this takes me back to emotional cheating because men do it too.
Very often.
You start off by sending an innocent text to an old friend or whatever. Break up with the person.
Yeah.
If you're married and you're stuck in a marriage and this is something new, speak to the person you're with. Tell them how you're feeling.
women cheat for physical reasons as well.
Go to
you know.
go to
there's
therapy,
occasions.
couples therapy. Do something. Show that you care.
I equate emotional cheating, like you're talking about, from a man's side. I think that is 10 times worse than a physical slip up. Because then a man is actually looking to almost replace his wife, or he's looking for something that his relationship doesn't have. I think that's worse than, the guy gets fucked up, the guy gets messed up, and he slips up in a club or something like that happens, and he comes home and whatever, he comes clean, he apologizes, he moves on. But an emotional thing, I agree, I think that's worse.
If you feel like you want to cheat on your wife, you might as well just say, look, I think this is done.
Yeah.
And instead of going behind your back, if you feel like
Cowardly.
if you have this impulse to cheat on your significant other, you may as well just end the relationship at that right then and there, because it hurts more. The pain of betrayal hurts more. Like,
But
yeah,
they
you'll
won't
hurt,
because humans are greedy. They want the whole cake.
but you
They're
know
not
what?
they're not gonna divorce her. They still want her. That's his kid's
Yeah.
mother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's also attached to her too
I agree
in a
with
way.
that, yeah. Have your cake and eat it.
Yeah,
too.
have your
There-
cake
there's
and eat
there's
it
that
too.
adrenaline rush. Oh, can I get away with this? And men and women do it also. You know, like you know, there's that fire. Like
The thrill, yeah.
I know married women who have affairs. You know, because there's this idea like oh,
a
you know, and the
stranger.
thing is, the guys are not even that much prettier or much like they just like the idea.
There are men
of,
who
like-
who will cheat. They'll cheat with whatever, some random chick, and that's it. It's done.
Yeah.
Then there are men that actually get into a full-blown relationship, and it gets past cheating at that point.
Yeah.
Like you have a whole nother life now. Like you're buying her a car, you're buying her Louboutins, you're taking her on trips. Like you have you have 2 wives, dude.
That's way
Like,
too much drama. I
Yeah,
don't know how people
but-
do it.
but
That's
they
way
do
too
it.
much energy.
It
It's like
exists.
That's War of the
it's
Roses
like
right there.
it's like how can you? I never figured out how you can be with more than one person at once, because it's all that energy and money. Like, why are you gonna split that up? Just pick one. Just pick one and stick with it. It's like
We got to call the
They
Mormons.
don't.
We got to get the recipe.
Piggybacking on Charles's point, I think they are putting effort and money into one person and kind of half-assing it with another person.
Yeah, their wife.
but you're still giving a little. It's like
but it's not with that like passion, with that like focus and attention, with that fervor like before. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but the drama that
you don't
comes
really
from
equally
that,
split from that. It's-
Some people feed off of drama. They like
Yeah.
it.
the hiding,
They can't live
the
without
lie.
it.
It's like I don't know how people do it.
No,
Some
they
people
can't
feel
live
like,
without
I don't know,
it.
James Bond or
Yep.
something like that. I'm telling you, some men feel like powerful when they're with multiple women.
Yeah.
And going back to like a couple questions before, it could be an addiction.
Yeah.
It could be that thrill
That's
of being
true.
with a
Addicted
stranger.
to drama.
I know that there are some, couples that will do role play of strangers, and that's weird to me. Like, why would you think and want to?
You gotta spice it
do-
up.
That's not spicing it. That's already spicing it down. You're
you'd be
desalting
You'd
it.
be surprised.
Let's not kink shame.
Yeah, not the kink shame.
King, what are we trying to say here? We're not kink
Kink
shaming.
shaming is my kink. So what? I'm joking. It's not.
We're not kink shaming. We support kinkiness.
You know what? That's wrong.
Exactly what you mean.
Oh, God bless you. Got the reference.
It is not
Oh,
normal
but
to
that-
cheat. Don't
It
do
is
it.
not normal. Yeah, it's not accepted. As Alan said, it's always happened. Cheating is not something new. It's the ability to find out is.
Yeah.
You know, now it's like with social media, again, it's a tool. You can use social media to catch your cheating partner. You can use social media to find someone to cheat on with. You know, it's like it's always existed, but now it's just more rampant. And I don't think it's ever been accepted. I think it's been tolerated. The thing about women in the past, they tolerated their cheating husbands because they didn't have anywhere else to go to. Now, women have the ability to be like, you know what?
God bless.
So it's
Edward
like-
not just cheated, had like bastard children.
Right.
That
I
they,
know,
like,
trust me, I'm
you'd
well
be
aware
shocked
of
how
this
many
now.
like bobos I see, and then it'll be like, oh, this is my other son. I'm like, I don't know this one. It's like, это друга, не переживай. I'm like, what the heck? This is crazy. Separate family.
Uzbekistan.
Yeah, it's no from Russia.
It's
usually the Russian
very,
chicks.
very selfish, I'll say,
Just gonna say that.
on a man's side.
Yeah.
Selfish act.
On
yeah.
a
We
man's
can agree on
side
that.
to have another family is I think it's the ultimate detriment you could do, because you are sabotaging so many lives. You are screwing up that next generation, both your first kids, your second kids, everybody's screwed up thanks to,
It's selfish and irresponsible.
It also shows, I feel like, a person's character that you're actually not a good person.
Yeah.
You're not. Like, why would you want to go around hurting not just your wife, but all these other people, your parents, your siblings, your kids,
You just don't care.
the mother-in-laws, the father-in-laws. It's like, it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
The counter story to that, I heard this the other day, somebody I know, his grandfather back in the old country had his wife, his second wife, and his third wife living under the same household. The kids were raised together. They all love each other. Everybody's on good terms. They're Bukharians.
That's
Really?
cheaper by the dozen for real.
All right.
Wow. How can you have
Bukharians
so
that
many
just
wives?
took in the Muslim tradition, full on.
Oh, no way. That's sad. That's very,
Well,
that's a shame.
everybody's okay.
I mean, y'all, if I could just like say anything about this, like overall, I think everything like we've discussed, it all comes down to the social media. Like social media makes all of this happen, and you know what, overall in general, if you're not happy with yourself, don't bring somebody else in your like disappointment and your sadness. When you're getting into a relationship, you better be happy, and whoever you're bringing in is just an addition to your happiness. So, I mean, just work on yourself first before like.
Don't let your, because you know that void.
Because you're afraid to be alone.
Right. Either you're afraid to. You are like know yourself like the back of your hand. Because most people don't like looking in the mirror and say I am like this.
Not only know
like
yourself,
that.
love yourself.
Yeah. And to love yourself. Yeah.
Yes. Love yourself.
Perfect point, Charles. Thank you.
It is. And the coconut flakes are real.
This is apricot?
Wow, Gordon Ramsay out here.
What the bloody fuck?